As you know, I always talk completely informal way. Nothing prepare. So, brothers and sisters, I'm extremely happy for finding this opportunity. So as I already expressed, I want to thank you. You see, you bring the opportunity, meeting or seeing many my old friends' face. So naturally now, 58 years since I came here. So during those decades, many Indian become a very close friend. So now many old face here, so I feel very happy. Some of my friends, his face rather quite old, so that reminds me too now become old. But then life goes that way. Important is while you alive, it should be something meaningful life. Then taking human life and then become meaningful. So this sacred human life should not use some destructive way, create more pains or more suffering to others. Then meaningless. So our life should be, at least, if possible, serve others, bring some happiness to others. If not, at least restrain harming. That's meaningful human life. And in order to do that, this human brain, a very unique brain, this must use for constructive way. I think thousands different species of mammals, I think we human beings, sometimes most troublemaker because of this brain. And also, you see, if we properly use this intelligence, like these saints, and I think thousands different parts of the world, particularly in this country, I think use human brain properly. So then, you see, they not only they themselves you see, gain much inner peace or inner strength. Also, you see, show the people, there is way, you see, to achieve something, properly use this brain. So I really very happy. Then personally, I really admire. You see, you take so much care of your son. When I first met, you say, you really, you see, looking after. And now this time, I got, you see, 2 blessings that we have. Wonderful. So, then, what I should say? Now, these days, when I'm mixing with my Indian friends, sometimes I feel this physical, not Indian, but Tibetan. But as far as the deeper experience of ancient Indian knowledge is concerned, I think I'm more Indian than you Indian here. The modern Indian, not much knowledge about 1,000-year-old your knowledge. How to tackle our emotion, how to strength, our inner, deeper value. So I always describe, we are chela of ancient Indian guru. So we kept over 1,000 years these, the ancient Indian sort of the wisdom. A modern Indian, I think, are too much concerned about money or about material value. So therefore, in the spiritual or ancient Indian knowledge is concerned, I'm more Indian than those modern Indian. Modern Indian not much sort of pay attention about these things. Therefore, now one of my commitment is trying to revival of ancient yoga knowledge in this country. See, you already advancing about material value or with modern education, modern technology. On top of that, now you should pay more attention about ancient yoga knowledge. You see, that brings inner value, inner peace, which world lacking now, frankly speaking. So I feel out of about, 200 different nations, only India can do combination, modern technology, modern facility, plus inner peace. Not just sort of faith, but use our intelligence properly. Through that way, we become better positioned to tackle, to combat anger, hatred, fear. So that's the way to build inner peace. So therefore, I think ancient Indian knowledge about emotion, about mind, and how to tackle these emotions, destructive emotion, and how to increase positive emotion. I usually consider these not as a religious sort of matter, but this is well-being of humanity. In everywhere, you see, people say, world peace, world peace. World peace must develop, must achieve through inner peace. Firstly, we have to create inner peace. Inner peace, not just faith and close your eye, not that way. Open our eye, look, and analyze. Through that way, you see, transform our emotion. In that respect, I think I may say, 82-year-old person, over now 60 years. When I was young, I have no interest about learning these things, only play. I was quite a lazy student. But then my age, 13, 14, 15, then I developed some interest about this ancient Indian knowledge. I pay more attention and study. At the meantime, implement, practice. So now, after 50, 60 years, now I realize my sort of destructive emotions, such as anger, almost disappear. Because, you see, analyze. What is the value of anger? Anger. Now, even scientists now say, when we develop anger, the object appears something very negative. But actually, 90% of that negativeness is mental projection. So this is exactly Nagarjuna's psychology mentioned that. So I practice that. So in this respect, as for Buddhist practitioner, a follower of Madhyamika philosophy, then you see the concept, you see nothing objectively exists. So that similar, the quantum physics, so that kind of sort of understanding of things does not exist as appears, much related with your own observer sort of attitude. Then automatically the basis of exaggeration diminishing. As a result, anger, attachment, these things automatically reduce. Other hand, karuna, maitri, these positive emotion, there is solid basis. So analyze, reasoning more, you get more conviction about these emotions sort of value. The destructive emotion, no proper basis, just mental because of exaggeration, right? Like that. So therefore, I really, appreciate ancient Indian knowledge. Before the India's wisdom reached Tibet, we Tibetan, almost like, firstly, nomad, no proper rule, nothing, more warrior. Whenever some opposition comes, all right. After the message of India, the light of India reached Tibet, then we really become, I think, civilized community, civilized nation, peaceful, non-violent. We always follow. Although majority of Tibetans are non-vegetarian. But I think generally, our attitude towards every life, very, very compassionate. So India's sort of message, India's light, India's wisdom, really transform Tibetan people. Then, I think generally, the best sort of knowledge or wisdom of India now only available among Tibetan practitioner or scholar. So I usually telling, we are historically chela of ancient Indian master. You are our teacher, our guru. But over 1,000 years, we as a chela, kept all this knowledge intact, not only intellectual level, but also practice. So therefore, it is sufficient reason to say we are quite reliable chela of ancient Indian sort of masters. So nowadays, really, I notice more and more Indians now showing interest about your own ancient knowledge. Now, this knowledge, not only ancient one, but also very relevant to today's world. So, so we totally dedicate serving, helping you for revival of ancient Indian knowledge. As I mentioned earlier, then India can make combination, modern thing, ancient thing together, so that modern things provide us physical comfort, ancient your sort of knowledge provide us mental peace or wisdom. So therefore, I think I wholeheartedly appeal to Indian, traditionally our guru, Now, please pay more attention about your own 1,000-year-old tradition. Revival, these things is very, very essential. Then, someone mentioned, I think, among different sort of Indian wisdom, Nalanda wisdom, I feel, very scientific. On the basis of Buddha's own advice, Buddha stated, "Oh, my follower, bhikshus and scholars should not accept my teaching out of faith, but rather thorough investigation and experiment." So like Nagarjuna, Aryadeva, and then Buddhapalita, Chandrakirti, now these great master, scholar of Nalanda institution or Nalanda sort of tradition, they rejected some of Buddha's own word. The reason they say, if you accept this Buddhist sort of teaching literally, it go against reason. Therefore, the Nalanda tradition, we have to rely on reason, experiment, rather than faith. So that is something quite unique. So therefore, see, we, as a follower or student of Nalanda tradition, so no difficulties discuss with modern scientists. It is very, very useful. Music learning. You mentioned, Kasadi, spacecraft, right? So when the Apollo land on moon, so some picture used to come, some rocks like that. So then I show that picture to some Tibetan scholars. Oh, this is moon. They say, oh, should not be moon. This is part of Mount Meru. Silly, quite silly. I think almost 1,000 years. You see, we believe, world flat, at the center of Mount Meru, sun and the moon go like that. So here we are enjoying daytime, so northern world night, because the sun, in southern part of Kasota, Mount Meru. This now, as a follower of Nalanda tradition, I can say nonsense. I often used to telling people, now millions of people, from India to Europe, Europe to America, and then from America to Japan, Japan to here. No one see Mount Meru. If there is Mount Meru, we cannot say Mount Meru is a mysterious thing. You cannot say shade of Mount Meru we enjoy, because we experienced. So the shade, something because we enjoy. But then the very thing which brings shade, we cannot see. That we can't say. So, existence of Mount Meru, just old Kasurta, old Sorda belief, or old thinking, like that. So, if we go according reason, with reasons, then no problem. As a result of meeting with scientists and more knowledge about cosmology, these things, then Mount Meru, one casualty, no problem. Since many years, I expressing the very purpose of Buddha, Buddha appear on India, not making maps of world, but for noble truth. So whether there is Mount Meru or not, doesn't matter. Whether world round or flat, doesn't matter. Dukkha is there, and cause of dukkha there. So that is real sort of practical concern. Now, how to reduce dukkha? So these things, even non-believer, now these are quite relevant. Now mind, till late 20th century, I think scientists generally just brain. No such as a consciousness, nothing. Now later part of 20th century, now number of scientists through their experiment, particularly those individuals who spend several hours meditation, their brain is something different. So there is something can affect our brain. So now gradually, many scientists now showing interest about the system of our brain, and there including mind or consciousness or these things. So in that respect, then this ancient Indian knowledge is very relevant, because they're very important. Then also quantum physics. Now they already know. You see, things does not exist from objectively. So finally, observer is the key factor. Then the question is, where is the observer? What is the observer? No answer. In this country, India, almost over 3,000 years, they analyze, where is the observer? So the concept of Atma and Anatma then come. So seems to see the modern sort of scientists sort of research, when they reach certain sort of age, stage, then I think ancient Indian knowledge, I think really helpful to make complete. So about cosmology and particles, I think although our scripture mentioned these particles, but more detail, I think we can learn better from scientific research. But some other field, our knowledge is much advanced than modern science. So combination is something very useful. So that I want to share with you, and then I prefer take some questions. Okay, some. I love some difficult question because that gives me opportunity to show my brain.
Arun was on an interview, a TV interview a couple of days ago, where he talked about karma transcending life to life through reincarnation as a convenient fiction. I wanted to get your view on that. I felt it was a very daring statement, and I felt also in sync with Arun.
Kasa. Reincarnation. Life after life.
No, how does karma go from this life to the next?
Oh, yes. Firstly, I think we have to accept, it is related with the concept of law of causality. Even sort of non-sentient being, like flowers or whole world, is come its own causes. In the cause, there are substantial cause and cooperative condition. So like our body, the substantial cause of this body no beginning. At the time of Big Bang, already the particle there is continuously, momentarily changing, with other condition, different sort of form. So finally, the combination of certain particle become possible to, because of the basis of consciousness. Then living being start. So now similarly, consciousness, mind, also momentarily changing. So that shows there must be causes. And within the cause, substantial cause and cooperative conditions. For example, eye consciousness, the cooperative sort of causes eye organ. But eye consciousness as a consciousness, mere cognitive, that nature, you see, must be its own previous continuation. The sensorial level, now consciousness, the sensorial level consciousness, that's grosser level. Then, during dream time, no sensorial level, no sensorial consciousness. Sixth mind still there. Then deep sleep without dream, even deeper consciousness. And when we completely feign another level, or deeper level of consciousness. And at the time of death, the most subtle level of consciousness. Now, last few decades, you see, when we mention these things to scientists, now some scientists really showing interest. The people quite often, I think last few decades, I think at least 40, 50 cases happen. Physically dead. The heartbeat stop. So no longer blood circulation. So brain, within short time, brain dead brain. But body remain very fresh. Next 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, it happened. So now this is something mysterious thing. So now some scientists now already set up some sort of, project to investigate what happened that, or what causes happened that. Clinically dead, but body remain fresh. Brain no longer working. So this is mysterious thing. So we already carry some investigation. So we explain, because subtle consciousness still remain there in certain area of our nervous system, or some we call channel, or chakra, different places. So therefore, now, now that subtle level consciousness, that also momentarily changing. So there must be causes. So there must be substantial cause. That's the continuation of the mind. So that subtle consciousness from here, once you depart from this body, that's real dead. While that subtle consciousness remain in the body, they not dead, dying. Once that depart, then dead, then body immediately become kasota, decompose like that. So on that basis, now the ancient Indian sort of the theory, rebirth, previous life to this life, from this life, next life. So, and then karma. Now karma. Karma means action. Now here a little bit also the controversial or something. You see, among these different religious tradition, some, you see, believe creator. Many Indian tradition also, you see, believe a creator. Then all religion come from Middle East, Judaism, Islam, Christian, all believe God, creator. But in this country, one part of Sankhyaism, no concept of God, and Jainism, no God, no creator, Buddhism as well. So then, according to the creator, and quite simple, this very life, you see, created by God. So next life is either go to heaven or hell. So Bishop Tutu, a very close friend of mine, we always see teasing each other. I always see, he often described me mischievous Dalai Lama. So I turn to him mischievous bishop. So we very friend, very friend. So one occasion, he teasing me, he ready go to heaven. Dalai Lama go some other place. That means almost, I think, strictly speaking, non-believer go there. So the concept of creator, I think, simplify. Simplify. You see, this very life created by God and very powerful. What is God? What is creator? Infinite love. So we all created by infinite love. God as infinite love. So we all children of that kind of Father. So that brings conviction. I must be compassionate children of God. Wonderful. Then, according to Indian non-theistic religion, then, of course, the critical investigation. So, if you accept Creator, infinite love, and some time back, one my Indian friend, really wonderful, he asked me, since whole world created by God, among His creature, some very mischievous people there. Why God create that? Then I try to answer. Oh, since God create hell, so there must be someone who ready go to hell. Otherwise, you see, there's no meaning creation of hell. Otherwise, it's difficult to answer. God, one way, full of love. One way, full of all powerful, all enlightened, should know future. Then He also have the power to change world. And then there are some contradictions. So therefore, those non-theistic tradition of India, no creator, but self-creation. Now the concept of karma come. One's own future entirely depends on one's own action. If you carry constructive, compassionate, positive action, you get benefit. Destructive action, you get negative consequences. So everything, you see, depends on your own action. That is karma. So law of causality. Now, next life, whether good life or difficult life, entirely depend on your own present life's action. If you carry constructive action, helping other, bring more happiness to other, that's good action. So result, you get a good life. Harming other, cheating other, bully other, then these are destructive action, negative karma. So next life will be difficult. So like that. So karma means some impact. Now, for example, I use now this moment some harsh word already created some karma. The imprint of that karma on my consciousness. Gradually, grosser level of consciousness cease. The subtle level of consciousness still there. So some imprint on that subtle consciousness. Now that has an effect on our next life. Okay.
Thank you, Your Holiness. I just wanted to ask you, how do we strengthen the value of tolerance?
Oh yes. Oh.
So how do you strengthen that?
You should read Shantadeva's book, 8th century, one great master, one of great master of Nalanda institution. I often read and also give teaching some other. Oh, that book, the best book, 10th chapter, the 6th chapter, how to practice, how to develop the enthusiasm, practice of patience, tolerance, the 6th chapter. And then usually you see anger and the negative action mostly come from self-centered attitude. Me, that. So 8th chapter mention how to reduce self-centered attitude and how to develop altruism. So these two chapters, 6th chapter, 8th chapter, combine really immense help to change our emotion. As I mentioned there, I also used to practice now according to this book. Now last, I think, almost now 40, 50 years. Immense help. Immense help. And the 9th chapter, mainly philosophy. So difficult to understand easily, unless you should, kasoda, combine Nagarjuna's Madhyamika Mulakarika, and then Chandakirti's Kasachukuti, Unjuku, Madhyamika Avatara. Now these books, I have to study, otherwise it's difficult, the 9th chapter. So for the time being, the 9th chapter, just leave it. the 6th chapter and 8th chapter, that, rare, 8th chapter, I think very useful. Next question?
So, Your Holiness, Wednesday you spoke about karma, if you recall, about 15 years ago I called on you at Ganj.
Oh.
And asked you this question and about karma and what next. And like my dear friend Shourie, almost did not believe in many things. And you at that time remarked that I have a great journey ahead. I could not figure out. 5-6 years later, you met me at India Habitat Center and said, the journey is yet to begin. And you picked me out of the blues. And out of the blues of no experience, without any experience, I went on to make a film on Guru Nanak.
Oh.
Called
Wonderful.
So while making this film, with the co-experience, which went on to win three national awards, one recorded miracles and actually felt what is karma. My next question to you is still the same. What next? The film has gone all over. There are many people who have seen
Karsa?
it.
What? No.
He wants to know what next. What next? What if?
I don't know.
Amazing journey one had.
I don't know. I think you should think. And consult some of your friends.
Sir, you give me a simple message to follow in this life.
Huh?
You give me a simple message to follow in this life.
Give him a simple message. He wants a message to follow.
If you just wait for 10 minutes, please, then
Huh?
we'll just wait.
Oh. Now, my sort of view or my suggestion, we 7 billion human beings on this planet, mentally, emotionally, physically, we are same. And all 7 billion human beings want peaceful life. Nobody want suffering. Yet, beside nature disaster, many problems actually our own creation. Why? Nobody want a problem. Yet, many problems we created. Why? Too much self-centered attitude, short-sighted, lack of holistic. So therefore, now, firstly, we have to also promote sense of concern of other people. Now here, by nature, firstly, we are social animal. Our biological factor, more compassionate mind, very helpful our body. Anger, very bad for our health. Then, now, some scientists, now they say, one occasion I also participated that meeting. Actually, you see, showing one, the film, one cartoon, two young child helping each other with smile. When that cartoon show to very, very young infant, about 6 months old, language not yet developed. When the cartoon, two children helping each other with smile, that when shows to infant child, that child was smiling, expressing sort of joyfulness. Then same cartoon, two children, negative attitude one another. When that cartoon showing to that infant child, the child very unhappy sort of expression. Then more important, constant anger, hatred. Some medical scientists, they say, actually eating our immune system. So they concluded, basic human nature is more compassionate. So that gives me hope. If basic human nature is anger, then no hope. But basic human nature is more compassionate. So there is real hope. Now the drawback is existing education system. Modern education, so-called modern education, very much oriented about material value, not talking about our inner value. So inner value is come. We totally rely on religion. Now today, out of 7 billion 1 billion non-believer. And also, I think among the 6 billion believer, due to lack of conviction about the value of compassion, so religion also sometimes become causing trouble. Isn't it? So therefore, I feel the education must include education about our inner value, according basic human nature, that is compassion. For example, my own case, my first teacher, compassion, is not my guru, but my mother. My mother, from my mother, I learned the value of compassion. Our mother, I think we heard of the children, nobody see or saw angry face. Always smile, always smile. Villager, illiterate, uneducated, of course, but very, very kind. So that, I think, now, every 7 billion human being, from childhood, that is quite alive, because alive way. But then once join education, not talking about this value, then value about material thing, then sense of competition, then the sense of me, that increasing. So I feel the existing education system is not adequate, not holistic. So as I mentioned earlier, now this respect, I think ancient Indian knowledge or secular way, not based on religious belief, just a secular way. Advani, once he told me, according to Indian understanding, the secular means respect all religion and also respect non-believer. So since I heard that from you, I also consider you my teacher. So now, that's, I think, very important, I feel. So we already committed drafting a curriculum about secular ethics. Now within this year, I think we will finalize. So then, I wish, you see, so concerned our group, now they are thinking some school should start use, you see, this also curriculum, and then we'll see what effect after 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, like that. So in America, 2 cities, I can't remember the name of the city, but the city, they develop city of kindness, city of compassion. This is their own sort of decision, not my request. They create that way. So within the city, more activities regarding kindness and compassion. As a result, within the city, the school children, much peaceful, more compassionate. So already, it is quite a pity. In this country, the century-old ahimsa, karuna, always say, but no city with name of karuna or name of Maitri. I think, I think we should. So this is one example. You see, more activities through action familiarize the children or the people about value of compassion. That really makes differences. So therefore now, firstly, education system, I think, should add, including education about our inner world. In there, India have plenty of sources. Now this should use.
Unlike us lazy fellows, the Dalai Lama gets up at 2:30 in the morning, so we should not detain him too long. So just
No, okay, no problem. but you know, I think 3 o'clock I wake up, but 6 o'clock start sleep. So sufficient sleep, no problem. No hurry.
Sorry. Your Holiness,
Just 3:10. So till 3:30, if you okay, at the whole okay, then till 3:30.
Your Holiness, what according to you is the ultimate reality? No, the point
That is
is,
a mysterious thing.
Is it suffering? Is it the lessons we learn from that suffering? We are told, Jiva Brahmaya na para.
Kasa.
We are one with the gods, but they too have suffered. So the spatio-temporal world is an illusion. Then what is real? Is it only the law of karma that is real?
Kasa, not very clear. Now this is, I think, question of deeper philosophical views. As I mentioned earlier, among Indian tradition, as I mentioned earlier, you see, observer. So non-Buddhist school of thought, they believe Atma. The Buddhist philosophical views, no such independent, absolute self beside this body and mind. That's Atma. So according to Buddhism, Buddhist philosophy, self is there, but self merely designated on the combination of this body and the mind. So independent, absolute self not there. So Buddhist concept, anathema theory. Then furthermore, like quantum physics, Buddhism, the things, Buddhism also, you see, the 4 major different school of thought. Vaibhashik, Sautantik, Chitta Mantra, and Madhyamika. So, Nagarjuna and these great thinkers of Nalanda, you see, they propagate Madhyamika philosophy. And me personally, Madhyamika philosophy really transformed my emotion. Wonderful. Therefore, according to Madhyamika philosophy, nothing exists as appears. External thing, not only external thing, but also consciousness itself. If you investigate, nothing we can find. So that understanding, that conviction, we may call wisdom, is direct antidote of ignorance. Ignorance. No? So we, here, you see, ignorance, roughly speaking, we just, you see, Kasoda, believe things are there as appears. We grasping on the appearances. Appearances not as Kasoda, reality. Reality, nothing independently exists. But appears independently exist. So all destructive emotion entirely based on appearances. So the antidote of wrong view on the basis of appearances is go deeper level, what is reality, ultimate reality, the nothingness. Nothingness, not just nothing, but the absence of independent existence. So things exist due to other factor, not by itself. So we call patita samuppada. The very nature of existence is due to other factor, not by itself. So once we realize that, then the appearance, independent existence, then appears that, but we know, or this, due to our ignorance, appears like that, but actually none exists that way. So you need, my own case, at least now 60 years I contemplate about shunyata. Now, recent about 30 years, I more seriously thinking daily. As soon as I wake up thinking these things, they really, now I found my emotion much changed, much transformed like that.
In the course of the afternoon, can you hear me?
He designed this cover.
Right.
In the course of the afternoon, we've talked about the need for the older Indian philosophical views and the resurgence of that. I've tried to read Nagarjuna, the Madhyamaka, the philosophies that you are now talking about, that things don't exist from their own side, are very deep and difficult philosophies to understand. And over the years, the...
Will you speak a little louder?
Can you hear? Yeah, okay. So, when we talk about Nagarjuna, Madhyamaka, Shantideva, the Indian philosophers whose resurgence you're suggesting will be very beneficial to modern Indians and the world, the philosophies themselves are very difficult to sort of fathom.
Difficult, Karsa. Oh, yes.
Yeah, so the things don't exist by their own side. That philosophy itself and the way, especially in the Madhyamaka, that has been looked into, you yourself are saying by 50 years of meditation, you are getting that deeper insight. I'm curious to know that when you are thinking to introduce this into curriculum, which is very necessary, whereas the Buddhist practice of meditation over many years is what brings the insights to Shantideva or Nagarjuna or the writer. How are we to understand these books of the deeper philosophies in a modern educational context, with or without meditation, or how is this to come about? The books exist, they are there, but they are very difficult and deep to understand, but the philosophy is very clear if we were to get through to it.
Oh, that's something different. The text or drafting or the curriculum. You see, that's strictly secular. Nothing mixed with Buddhist philosophy. Nothing. So now here in this country, there are many different spirituality or different religious tradition there. So this is, I think, one of India's beauty. I think only this country now have the all major world religious tradition live together. This is really wonderful. India is the only country which living example where all major different religious traditions live together. Occasionally some problem here and there, but basically I think over 3,000 years that kind of tradition there. Firstly, I think over 1,000 years homegrown religion. Then later from outside, Zoroastrian, the Judaism, Christianity, and then Islam live together here. So, you see, this curriculum should be secular way, should not touch any different religious philosophy. So that's our thinking. Compassion, certain sort of what they tackle our emotion. That's every religion carry message of love, tolerance. All religion, different philosophy. All these different philosophies. Some say this God, some say no God. That doesn't matter. All, you see, aiming same goal. Try to bring conviction about value of love, compassion. No problem. As I mentioned earlier, God creator, so infinite love, very powerful method to bring conviction about love. And non-theistic religion, the karmic, karmic theory, that also is very helpful to develop like that. So, but these things are concerning a believer, not common people. Like that. Then, next.
Your Holiness, it has been reported that you said you would be the last Dalai Lama. And I'm assuming that you've accumulated a lot of good karma. Surely there will be a reincarnation.
Actually, as early as 1969, one of my official statement, I stated the very institution of Dalai Lama, whether should continue or not up to Tibetan people. Then, moreover, since 2011, I totally retired from the temporal responsibility. Voluntarily, happily, proudly. Because I feel these old sort of institution, particularly Dalai Lama institution, combined with temporal power, that I feel some influence from feudal system. So now feudal system gone. So any religious institution where some society's certain sort of impact, that I think we must stop. So then, whether Dalai Lama's reincarnation or my personal reincarnation come or not, my my sort of daily prayer is, so long space remain, so long sentient beings suffering remain, I will remain in order to serve as much as I can. So therefore, my rebirth always there, but with sort of formal recognition as Dalai Lama or not, that's different matter. But now Chinese government, you see, showing more interest about Dalai Lama reincarnation. So they may choose another Dalai Lama. Oh, now here, a few years ago at Newark in America, you see, some program, sort of my lecture. And then I also, you see, met some media people. Then some media asked me about the reincarnation of Dalai Lama. So then I take out my glass, then look at his face. Judging my face, my reincarnation quite hurry or not? And then he say, no hurry.
I will tell you why the question is premature. Once when we had gone to see him, the Dalai Lama, for our son and my wife and I, and he was so kind that I was pushing the chair because Anita has some difficulty in walking. He was holding her to take her to the lift. So Anita stopped. Anita said, sir, we all in our family pray for your healthy and long life. He stopped. He said, I'm interested in science. So I had my DNA checked. And the scientists say that I will live till, and he gave a very reassuringly faraway date. In any case, longer than Chinese communism.
Now I think last two questions, one from here, one from here.
Your Holiness, I had the great privilege of meeting you in Dharamshala last month. And it was a great privilege and blessing. My question is, and I've been wondering about this for some time, we have talked today about religion, different religions and how they show us the right path. Can you expound a little on the difference between religion and spirituality? When we talk about karma, the difference between karma and kriya, what is turning inward? When somebody said that the answer lies in really turning inward, can you please expound and tell us what turning inward really means?
Karsa. Action, kriya. Spirituality, broadly speaking, the secular ethics also kind of spirituality, I feel. Certain level, spirituality is goodness or human value without based on religious belief. And then religion, I feel the religion of human being, not God or goddess. So therefore, all religion, you see, use or emphasis the basic human value. So all major religious tradition, you see, carry basic human value. In order to strengthening that, use different philosophy. Some say there's God. Some say karma. I like that. So, then second part, Karsa. The karma, action, physical action, verbal action, mental action. So ultimately, mental action is key factor. Mental level, pure, or compassionate mind. Then verbal action, sometimes little harsh word, okay, positive. I think demarcation, violence and non-violence is actually related with motivation, not appearances of the action. Good teacher, including my own teacher, sometimes use harsh word to me when I become a little bit lazy. And also, you see, some occasion, you see, showing me threat, use whip, like that. So this, holy whip, yes, holy whip. Actually, yellow whip. So suppose holy whip. So to punishing holy student. But then I already know, if use holy whip, pain, no difference of holy pain. So therefore, such action, harsh word, out of genuine sense of concern of my, for me. So that is non-violence. Then other hand, you see, negative motivation, try to cheat, try to exploit, and use some gift or nice word, and smiling. Actually, violence because of the motivation. So ultimately, motivation is the key factor. So mental action is the supreme, the decisive sort of the level, mental level. Verbal action, because of physical action, a minor, like that. Physical action, because of verbal action, whether positive or negative, entirely depend on mental action. So mind is very important. Then change our mind through training with fuller understanding about the whole system of our emotion. That's way you can transform our emotion. So therefore, you see, pay more attention about the system of our mind. It's very important. Whether believer or non-believer, you should have better knowledge about the whole system of our emotion. Usually I describe map of emotion, map of mind, so that we become better positioned to deal with this destructive emotion. Yes? Kasa? Moksha? Yes, I believe. Kasa? Oh. Oh. Thank you. Oh, okay. Oh, no, okay. Oh, it seems to toilet. Oh, so we will come. Okay. Old people, I think there is real danger felt. Then, you see, that is quite serious. So I think, like you, I think always closely take care. So now question, moksha. Now, different interpretation about very nature of moksha. Some people, some sort of school of thought, moksha almost like heaven, almost to see like place or external. Then according, I think Buddha Dharma, moksha is a highest kind of nirodha Shingra. Fourth noble truth. Third noble truth. The cessation of suffering and its own the causes. So that's nirodha, the true cessation, true cessation. Now that there is no something positive thing there. Once your emotion gradually lessen, then finally eliminate. That's moksha. Kasa?
You have to do something more than good karma. Something more you have to do.
This is not only karma. Karma, as I mentioned earlier, action level. Now here, wisdom. Analyze the ultimate reality of oneself and other. And oneself, here also is according to Madhyamaka philosophy, firstly, analyze what is chit, mind. Mind is the basis of designation of sentient being. So chit investigate what's Chit. Chit is no sort of physical, formless, only sort of experience. So there must be, there's no sort of physical particle, right? Or only the Gyunji Shashe. No, this microphone. A physical part of direction is even subtle, the atom or quark, always moving. So forward and moving forward, so there is part. The consciousness, no physical part. Since no physical, so Junjicha.
Consciousness only has a temporal sequence of continuity.
So now here, we have to analyze past, present, future. Past century does not mean the whole 100-year is past. No. We can divide within 1 century the past decade, future decade, present decade. Decade also, not necessarily whole 10 years, but within decade, past, future, present. Even day or hour and minute, past, present, future. Second, also past, future, present. Now analyze, where is present? Because of the reduction rate. Reduce. Then no present. Second, half past, half future. Where is present? Things momentarily changing. So no present. Without present, how can divine, how can describe past and future without present? Complicated. Present must be there. Just a mere designation, not independently exist. So now that apply consciousness. Past, future, present. You can't find consciousness itself. So all these, the Madhyamika philosophy say,
so when you try to search for anything and its identity, when you cannot find it within that object. So what we know as existing, when existing in convention, is because of our ignorance.
Just, you see, without investigation, just something like, so-called, there is something. If you investigate, nothing. So, truth.
So we talk about two truths, which is conventional and ultimate.
So all destructive emotion very much based on wrong view or things independently exist, as I briefly mentioned already. So the antidote, the weapon to combat that ignorance is the wisdom which understands ultimate reality. That's not only intellectual level. I think intellectual level, my own case, I think over 60 years. Then thinking, analyze, make familiarize. Then last, I think 30 years, some feeling there. So my sort of destructive emotion much reduced, now almost gone. That's the beginning of moksha. Okay.